Would you like to discover the 5 symptoms of narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder? Hey, I'm Antia, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man Method. And look, if you are new to my channel, I invite you to click on that bell right below so you get notified when the next juicy video that helps you to attract the right man for you comes your way. Now look, narcissism has been actually really prevalent in my own life as well as my clients' lives, attracting narcissistic men and also learning to trust ourselves to know that we are actually in fact dealing with a narcissistic man is of the utter importance. So look, I curated 5 symptoms for you to uncover quickly if you're dealing with a narcissist. Symptom number 5 is narcissists live in an illusion. Now, you get the sense that they have their own reality that is not really connected to the reality or your reality. And you really notice that it's really like a self-serving reality as well. So I'll give you an example. When I was growing up, and I have a narcissistic mother, right? Like she would actually be able to yell at me and go back into her living room and like laugh out loud, like from her heart, for something that she was watching, right? So she was so strongly connected to her reality that actually my reality doesn't impact her at all. And she even said, you can be right on paper, black on white, and you still are not going to be right. So there is really this sort of like distortion of that sense of self-perception in the narcissist. And that's what you really feel when you attract narcissistic men into your life. It makes you feel a little bit like, what's happening? That's kind of weird. That's kind of strange. And you also start to kind of question and doubt yourself. So they live in their own illusion. Symptom number 4 is they need this constant need for appraisal, improvement, admiration. They always need to be the center of attention, right? So I oftentimes actually tell my women who give a lot of their power away, and they're sort of like the doormats, right? That actually what you really need to do in order to become a narcissist repellent is actually understanding how the dynamic between you and a narcissist works, right? So you're actually like constantly feeding his confidence and his like grandiose self-esteem, which is, by the way, not that healthy, integrated, aligned self-esteem that's actually really balanced, right? But it's very grandiose, right? It's really like disconnected, disassociated for sure. And what's really important about that is like, if you don't give them the admiration and the adoration, and if you don't give them the applause and the approval, right, they actually become really unhappy really quickly. This can look 2 different ways. They can become condescending, and we'll be talking about that today, or they can actually become a victim. So they can actually make themselves a victim. They say like, I never get the attention from you. It's always about you. So they will start projecting out as well. So something to be aware of, because it may mess with your head. So you got to be careful, got to be grounded, got to make sure that, okay, so is this actually true, right? And am I actually getting just as much approval, praise, admiration, adoration from him as well? The answer with a narcissist will be, you are not. It is all about him. Now, you can even tell, right? Because let's say you text with him, you meet somebody online, they will just talk about themselves, and most likely they will not ask you a question. Which leads me to symptom number 3, which is this really unhealthy sense of entitlement. So look, the narcissist always feels like the world owes the narcissist, right? Like, you know, the world owes him or her, depending if it maybe was even your mom, right? Or maybe you have a sister, a friend, whatever it is. And it's like sort of like they start to like guilt trip you and shame you, right? And there's always like this me, you know, poor me, like I didn't have a good life, right? Like I deserve better. So this is like, I should be treated differently. So they will certainly put themselves on a pedestal, right? So you don't even have to put them on a pedestal. They will do that themselves. And they really will think, right? Like, no, it's all about me. I'll give you an example. I used to, I used to go on like lots of road trips with my girlfriends. And so one day, one of my friends, who was a guy, he actually brought like his, new crush or whatever with him, right? So we get to this restaurant and we have to stand in line, right? So here you deal with a narcissist, like we're all standing in line, we're all obviously waiting until we can order. Not the narcissist, she walks straight up front, she actually walks into the kitchen, she yells at the chef, you know what I mean? She tells her what she wants. Do you see what is a sense of entitlement? Why is she better than everybody else who's standing in line, right? We're all hungry, okay? We're all on road trips. So again, it will be like so distorted. It's just all about her. And if it's not about her, or when it's not about him, right, it becomes this really uncomfortable tension. It starts to feel like really, really weird, and it feels really tense, right? You can really feel that also in your system as well, because they will, of course, project that out, right? Absolutely, no doubt about that. This leads me, of course, to symptom number 2, which is he will exploit others by guilt tripping, by shaming. There is no stopping. He will invade your boundaries. And this is something to be really, really careful with, because if you have already a relatively low sense of self-esteem, right? Like that's why narcissists usually look for that anyway. So this is a whole different video on how to become a narcissist repellent, which you can actually find on my channel. But actually understanding, right? Like they're not holding back at all. It's all about them. They will never feel guilty. They will take the last shirt off your back, right? They will drive your car to empty, right? They will mess up your house. They will mess up your life, and they will not feel a peep inside of themselves. There will be nothing. It'll be complete exploitation, and you will be feeling exhausted, rejected, abandoned, certainly taken advantage of, because there is no equal give or take. This person only takes. And you may notice that. You may have actually even girlfriends that come over and it's always about them. Or do you know that friend that when you see their name appearing in the display of your cell phone, you're not gonna answer? Why? Because it's just all about her, and it's always just drama, and there's no question about you. And you can also uncover that on dates as well. If somebody is exploiting, if somebody's actually paying for the dinner, things like that, you can actually see really quickly, do they want you to drive all the way to them? Do they want you to step out of your own way, right? So those are really good markers to understand if you're dealing with a narcissist right there. And finally, symptom number 1, they will be frequently intimidating you, belittling you, demeaning you. And look, here's the thing. It sometimes actually starts off rather, actually rather harmless, right? There will be just like a little sarcastic comment, right? Little condescension here, right? And just like they may just make a comment that you don't look the best in your dress, or right, or maybe you wear too much makeup or whatever, right? So they will make just little comments like that. And then again, if you are criticizing yourself, not a good combination, right? Because he will, of course, totally take advantage of that. Why is that? Well, because it makes him feel better, right? So the less worthy you feel, the more worthy he feels. I know this is totally sick. This is totally distorted, but that's how a narcissist operates, right? So they really operate by making other people feel less than, right? Because remember, they have this grandiose self-esteem, and it's all about them, and it's about all their reality, and they're on the pedestal, right? So then they get all the attention. They put you in your place. They have you in the palm of their hand and can sabotage you and, of course, exploit you as much as they want. So look out for just those little belittling comments. This even starts in online dating. I always see that with my clients, just like little comments like that, or like, oh, wow, you could lose a couple pounds, or you could do this, or that was like a weird photo, or, you know what I mean? There's always like a little bit of something, it's a little bit stabby. It was a little bit like, I don't know, that was not really kind, right? And so they test you because they actually see how much are you willing to take. And so this is something that you definitely, super, super important, you want to keep in mind. So look, those are the 5 symptoms of a narcissist, and of course, narcissistic disorder. And if you want to learn more about that, then definitely hop on over to magnetizeyourman.com and grab that quiz that I created there as well. That is really for women who have an anxious avoidant attachment style, who attract narcissists into their life all day, every day. It's always about the other person. And also, I would love to hear from you. The question of the day is, which of those symptoms resonated with you the most and why? All right, I am so excited. Again, hop on over to magnetizeyourman.com. Grab your quiz right there. I'm so excited to talk to you next time. Much love, much care, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.